Welcome to Fancounters. My name's Nick. Hopefully you had a great week. Today's Friday, and it's time for another great episode of Fancounters. If you want to follow us online, we are on Twitter at Fancounters Live. We do have a private Facebook group if you want to join that. That's called Sharpie Nation, kind of like the marker where you get an autograph, Sharpie Nation. Or we've got over 30,000 people hanging out on our Facebook page. You can find that by searching Fancounters on Facebook, and we'd be happy to have you there. If you want to email us any comments, questions, or if you have a guest that you want us to put on the show, email that to hello@fancounters.com. Now, I told a story last week about my trip to San Francisco, but there was one thing I left out about that trip, and it's kind of a question for you. How do you make a bunch of people at a tourist attraction more annoying? I'm asking because I was at Alcatraz, and there were people everywhere. That was frustrating enough, but how do you make that crowd more annoying? You give them all headsets with an audio tour at different points. The audio tour says, look up at this, and then everyone does. And it's kind of like they have no idea anybody else is moving around them. So because I was so frustrated, I really did try very hard not to become one of those people, but I found out it's very easy to become that distracted and not realize anybody else is around you. So that's the answer to that question. On the show this week, I've got a great interview with two gentlemen who are the guitarists, the touring guitarists for the band Alabama. And they have a band of their own. Jason Roller and his wife Kaylee have a band called The Rollers. And Kimo Forrest is the lead singer and founder of the band Cache Creek. And those two guys are our guests this week to tell us about their tour stories with Alabama. And you're going to learn a little bit about what it's like to live on the road. And that is coming up right now on Fancounters.
Coming to you from nowhere near the entertainment capital of the world, this is Fancounters with Nick and Elizabeth on the Podfix Network.
There was this mob of people, and they're screaming my name.
Crazy fans.
Stop following me. Don't come around my house. If you do, the cops are going to be at yours.
If I'm having dinner with my wife, don't sit down at my table. Don't follow me into the bathroom.
Can I take a picture? We're going to, oh my God.
I think this guy wants to fight me. Ended up being a fan.
I'm the only one that's ever been on Sam Jackson and lived to tell about it.
Well, guess what? I have a big surprise for you.
That's why we call it Fancounters.
I don't think you're going to last on the air very long.
All right, Jason, Kimo, welcome to Fancounters. Thanks for joining us.
Howdy, thanks for having us.
Yeah, buddy, thanks.
Now, we are, you're only, I think, my fourth or fifth guest I've interviewed in person. So it's a little intimidating, actually, to be looking at the people that are on the show. So
You didn't know we were this handsome, did you?
Right. Well, you're going to go into that right away.
Man, I do it. I mean, red light goes on, I'm on, baby.
All right, well, here, the story goes, and I heard this, Jason, from your wife, that you're known as Fred and Barney on the road.
Yes, we are. It was just one of those things. And in fact, Monty, the bass player in your band, Cache Creek, is the one that coined us. I guess they were looking for a nickname. We were up on stage playing, and Kaylee had said something about, look, there's Mario and Luigi, and Monty said, no, that's Fred and Barney. And it just stuck. But I mean, I'm the short little blonde haired dude, and you're the big dark headed dude. I mean, it was fate.
It works.
Our side of the stage is called Bedrock too. Even the crew calls it that. So yeah.
Now you have a Facebook group we should just promote.
Yeah, we do.
We got great pictures on there. So if people do want to see Fred and Barney, what's the group?
What is it? It's Kimo, Fred, Jason, Barney.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
We'll link to it on our Facebook group so
can
that they can just
put
go
that in and it'll come up.
Subscribe easily, yeah. So let's talk a little about history. Now, Jason, I know you because I know your wife.
Yes.
And I met her at 16, when she was 16, and I was just 18 or 19. I was really dumb. I moved to Nashville, and I wanted to get into the music business as like in the record label side or management side. Yeah. So I took it like an internship with a talent agency, and at the time, obviously, Kaylee was trying to further her career, and I felt so bad. My first interaction was kind of like bringing them to Nashville, like they came down.
Yeah.
And with a meeting, and I'm sure this lady was a scam. Like, I think I got wrapped up into something, but we met with her and all that, and obviously nothing happened with that, but I felt really bad, and I felt bad all these years. I don't think I've ever told Kaylee this, but it was nice. That kind of solidified our friendship, though, as far as, keeping this alive for 20 years. But now you're married to her. That's why I'm bringing all that up.
Yes.
And so give us a little update. Like, I know she's the voice of a lot of country radio stations.
She is. We've been doing jingles for a company called Real World out in Seattle, Washington. And gosh, we've done probably over 100 stations across the country. And just, her singing the call letters and singing the morning hosts and everything. So it's been really good.
And she's done demos.
Oh, yeah. She sings a lot of demos for me.
You got to do the fan counter jingle. Remember?
Oh, you got one?
Fan counter.
There's Kimo. At the S at the end, right. Don't forget that part.
I'll be back here.
He'll be here all night, literally.
Yes.
So that's just a little bit about you and your wife, but tell me about you. How did you get started in the music business?
Oh, well, my dad played banjo. My mom played guitar, so I got stuck with a fiddle in my hand when I was 4 years old.
Oh, wow.
And,
so they had a band?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a little band growing up, and I played in a bunch of bluegrass bands when I got a little older, and then I got a little bit of a break. I got a job in a show out in Las Vegas when I was 14 years old playing fiddle. And that's kind of when it clicked for me. Wow, I can make a living at this.
How'd you get a job at 14, though?
My dad had a friend, Tim Wright, who was with a very successful group called the Wright Brothers. And he had... Yeah, Kimo's learning a lot
the
of
flying,
stuff over
right?
Here. No, not not them.
Different Wright brothers.
But
he's not that old.
But he had an agent down in Nashville, and so my dad kind of presented me to Tim, and he said, "Hey, come down and meet my agent." And so I went down there and played for him, and next thing you know, he called up. He said, "I got a show for you in Vegas if you want it." 14 years old. And I said,
that's awesome.
Okay.
And where did you grow up?
Indiana.
Oh, okay.
I'm from Indiana, so just outside of Indianapolis.
Nice. And then how did Kaylee and you meet?
So, well, that was years later.
Right, obviously.
Down in Nashville. She called me first. Did you ever hear the story? Did she ever tell you the story?
No, that's why I'm first hand.
She'd probably tell it better than I because she has more passion about it.
Well, she'll listen now and see if you get it right. Don't get in trouble.
Yeah, she was going to do a showcase. She had been out of music for a little bit, and she was going to do a showcase and come back, and her guitar player got tickets to see B.B. King. So it was a last-minute kind of thing, and she needed somebody to fill in. And one of her writer friends, Sandy Ramos, said, "You need to call this guy." She gave her my number. And so Kaylee calls me, and she says, "I got this show coming up, are you interested in playing?" And I said, yeah, I can do it.
Isn't the first question, is this paid work, or is this just going to go on my resume?
It is paid work. It was paid work. And so I say, yeah, I'll do it. So she sends over the, her songs and everything. And then she doesn't hear from me until a couple of days before the show. And she was getting mad at me. She was about to fire me.
Wow.
I just hadn't. I mean, I had it on my books. I was
so low key too. I wouldn't see her getting all up in arms like that.
But yeah, she was pretty hot, and she's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna fire this guy, but I don't have time to get anybody else,
I have no choice.
Yeah. And then I called her like a day before, and I said, or a couple of days before, and I said, yeah, so we're doing this thing, and she's like, been trying to get a hold of you, so we need to rehearse, and I said, rehearse?
I'm a professional player.
I said, I got it, I'm ready to go, and she's like, I need to rehearse, So yeah, then we got together, the night before, the night of the gig. We got together a little bit before at a friend's house, and and then she walked in, and I guess it was like, oh, okay, I'm not mad anymore. So
okay,
that it started and went from there.
Nice. Kimo, tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm interested in this whole mail order husband thing. He was paid for. I mean, that's on your first meeting. That's pretty good. That's how you win this game, Jason, you've done it
I don't
again.
think that's happening anymore, though.
Yeah. What was the question again?
So tell me a little bit about your background, your start how you
I've
playing professionally?
You know, my parents were both in the business. My dad played guitar. My mom was a hula dancer, and so I kind of 3 years old. I was in the canoe going one paddle, two paddle, you know, and then it's just I've done it my whole life.
Okay,
you know, and it's crazy because I'm such a shy, reserved fella.
It seems like that.
And
I just met you, but you know,
no, just I've just always done it, and it's. These guys think Merle Haggard's my dad. You know, they always tease me about it.
We call him the historian because, I mean, any kind of music, any style, any song, it could be an obscure album cut. He knows it.
Wow.
Empty head you can fill with that kind of useless information, you know.
An empty head.
Yeah.
Give yourself some credit. So are you, now obviously you're here on tour with Alabama.
Yes.
Are you just... I don't say just mildly, but are you just touring musicians? Have you played on albums? Is there a difference, you know?
Yeah, you know, it's pretty much you play on everybody's album except the artist you work for. But we actually did play on Alabama's latest stuff, which is interesting.
Okay.
You know, but yeah, I mean, we both run studios in Nashville, and we've had chart-topping productions that we did, you know, and our relationship started kind of late, you know. I mean, because we pretty much do the same thing, so you very rarely do you get called for the same deal.
Oh, okay.
Had
you known each other before this tour? Before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know, I've admired his work from afar. I mean, I've always had eyes for him.
Oh man.
You just never knew. But when we finally started hanging out, it was like, dude, I mean, it was just insane, you know. We did not drink Wisconsin Blee one night, and I mean, we were just like finishing each other's sentence. It was love at first sight. It was crazy.
This is
On
a
the
bromance.
Bus. It is.
Ooh.
It's sick. It's a real bromance. I hate that stuff, but it's real, man. You can't fight it when it takes over.
Jason doesn't agree with us. He's not going to admit to it anyway.
No, everybody that's seen the show, they know.
Yeah.
They know. They can't
Well, I hear
deny
you
it.
take over the show.
Well, we try to.
Yeah.
Randy casts a big shadow, though.
Yeah, he does cast a big shadow. But hey, we got a thrust tonight.
We do?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be out there on it tonight.
All right, so we're here in Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Yes.
Having this chat. You're going to be playing at the absurd time of 11 p.m.
Oh, yes.
How does such a late show, how does that affect the show? Have you played this late before?
Oh, yes, we have.
Okay.
And
I've never heard of a festival starting the headliner at 11.
Yeah.
I just have. 10? Yes. 11 is
that's quite late.
going to get me home past my bedtime.
Yeah. I think Randy and Teddy are going to have to wake up and do the show and then go back to bed.
Yeah, we have a caveat, too, because we're flying out because we have a gig with my band tomorrow in North Carolina.
Oh, wow.
So we're catching a ride here at the hotel at 2 a.m., heading to the airport. So
you're playing with Cache Creek in North Carolina.
Yes.
Then where do you pick up this tour next?
When is our next date here?
Next date is in Louisiana. A couple weeks.
Louisiana?
Oh, so you have a couple weeks.
Yeah, we have
it's
a couple
not like
weeks.
immediate. It's not like you're flying to North Carolina and then you have to join up in 2 days or something.
No, we have the 4th of July and that weekend off, and then we meet back up in Louisiana.
But Cache Creek's playing the next 2 weekends. That's how I booked that, you know, because it's like, you got to look at Alabama's calendar because every time I play with Cache Creek, I lose money. But so I got to put it in between, you know.
Okay.
I mean, that's the problem when you're just starting out, you know. It's tough.
So talk about your band, Cache Creek.
Oh,
Let's go right there.
Well, you know what? This is pretty cool because this week we actually entered the country music breakout chart at number 77.
Wow.
With our new single.
And what is that?
It's called My One and Only Weakness.
Awesome.
And it's also, they have an event called the Josie Awards, and it's for independent artists and stuff, and the video is actually up for Video of the Year, too.
Wow, congratulations.
So we're on the come, man.
Yeah, no kidding. You might not need to tour with Alabama anymore.
That's the ultimate goal.
It would be the goal for anybody. Anybody would know that.
Oh, yeah. And then we got the Rollers coming along, too.
Yeah?
Have you heard about that?
Not so much.
Yes.
Give me some information.
Well, me and Kaylee have started a little bluegrass duo called the Rollers.
Nice.
A friend of ours, Billy Droz, who is a successful chart-topping bluegrass artist, has started himself a label called Redbird Records.
Okay.
And I've done a lot of work with Billy, and he heard some of our stuff, and he contacted me, and he said, hey, would you guys be interested in doing a project? I said, absolutely.
Wow. So more than a record, though.
Hopefully so, yes. Yeah, hopefully this is going to be a big thing for us, and I know we're really excited about it. So you can go on Facebook and see a couple of sneak peeks of what we're doing. And
excellent. Do you have the page, The Rollers?
The Rollers, yes.
Excellent. Very good.
I think if you search Rollers Duo, The Rollers Duo, because there's some other band called The Rollers. Oh, really? They're imitation.
The Bay City Rollers.
Not the Bay City. There's some imitation band out, and I don't know. They're really not rollers. They're not one of us.
Not as good,
no,
for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. You've been on this tour with Alabama now 4 years?
This is my third year out.
Third year, okay. And Kimo, how about you?
2011.
Oh, wow. So you've been part of the... Because they came back on the road in 2009, I think, right?
No, it was 2010. They got together for the tornado relief.
Oh, okay.
Down in Alabama, and I guess they realized that people still wanted to see him.
Oh, for sure.
And plus, Randy, he still has that voice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he doesn't sound aged at all. I mean, he still sounds like those records, and that's always it gives us the confidence to go out there too, because that guy's going to be bringing it, so we get to bring it, because he is the tip of the spear, so to speak, right? I mean, as Randy goes, the band goes.
Now, Jeff Cook is not touring with the band right now?
No.
Will he rejoin, or has he joined for some dates, or is he...
He did Fan Appreciation Week last week, but and he said he might do another one this year, but it's just very rare.
Okay.
Very rare.
Who else have you toured with? And maybe what's your most memorable tour to date?
Oh, that's a good question. I spent some time out with Joe Diffie for a little bit. Spent some time with Tracy Lawrence and Mark Chestnut. Was on the tour where they were all three together as well.
Okay.
So I played with all three of them and then all together.
They would share a band at that point if they were all playing?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there was a one band, 3 artists kind of tour called the Rock and Roadhouse Tour back in the early 2000s.
Okay.
Played with Winona for a little bit. Played with Dave Mason in the rock side of things.
Nice.
That was
so you're not just a country artist.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting ride, between all that stuff and then having recorded on Alice Cooper's record.
Wow.
And Deep Purple. I mean, that's some stuff that I never thought that I would be able to add to my resume.
Now, Alice Cooper, did you record with him?
I did. I never got to meet him. He wasn't
there.
That's
what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
I've seen a picture of him without any of the makeup on, and it's unrecognizable.
Yeah.
So I wondered if you put the makeup on in the studio or not. That was going to be my question.
No, he wasn't there when I recorded. I just came in and did my parts to it. I didn't even know it was going to be for him. I got sent over this weird song, and the engineer's the one that sent it over to me. He's a friend of mine, and he said, "Hey man, here's a song we're going to be recording, tomorrow." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And I didn't pay any attention to it, and I get to the session the next day, and the producer's over on the phone, and I was talking to the engineer, and I said, "Hey man, by the way, what is this for? Whose song is this?" He said, "Oh, it's for Alice Cooper's new record." It's like, ooh, hang on a second. I got to make a couple phone calls.
Yeah.
So I called everybody that was the fans. I said, "You're never gonna guess what I'm doing." So it was really cool.
Were the vocals already laid down at that point?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So did he do it to a temp track then? Because if you're coming in to fill it in.
I came in. I played fiddle and banjo on it, so they had drums and bass and some guitars and stuff already on it. But,
that's pretty sweet.
It was a pretty cool experience. And then the Deep Purple thing, same thing. They had me come in to play acoustic guitar on it, and now Steve Morris is playing with Deep Purple, and I've been a fan of his through all the Dixie Dregs stuff. So just all the stuff he's done, but especially that Dregs stuff. So it's like I'm in there playing acoustic guitar, and I got the headphones on, and then you just hear his tone and his style, and it's like, wow, I can't believe I'm doing this. It's like, there it is, there's the sound.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
Kimo, who have you hit the road with?
Let's see, I've Johnny Lee, David Lee Murphy, John Michael Montgomery. I was with John for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Becky Hobbs, Davis Daniel from back in the day, a bunch of Opry guys. I used to be in the they had like the Opry on the road where they just send out about 4 or 5 different acts. So you had your Rex Allen Jr. and your Jack Green and all that kind of stuff. They would come up and do 2 or 3 songs. I was with that for a while. And then I'm sure there were some other ones too. Just kind of slipped through. But yeah, as far as production and stuff go, I co-produced with Byron Gallimore, one of John's records, and then
that's synonymous with Tim McGraw.
Yeah. Byron, he knows the moves, man. I mean, he's like the artist whisperer. You know, he'll get a hold of that ear and just weave a tale and just he's got this kind of thing over him. It's pretty funny. Probably shouldn't be saying that, but
I was going to share with you because Elizabeth and I worked in radio in the 90s and stuff, and I remember the John Michael Montgomery tours, and it seemed like as soon as he came on site, it locked down like the president was there. Like he didn't want anybody backstage. He didn't want any people just wandering around. It was very hard to get meet and greets with him.
Yeah.
It was very tight. That's what I remember about him back when he was at full popularity.
Right, and he had a he had some people around him at that time too, especially like on the tour side, that were real heavy-handed. Like when I first joined the band, I went out, jamming with him up the front, and I came back and the keyboard player's face was white. He's like, "You don't go past that line."
Oh wow!
I'm all, "What are you talking about, man?" And then of course John loved it, but he, then come to find out, he didn't know any of this stuff was going on around him. Yeah, they kind of had him in that bubble, because.
So did you ever get talked to for going on stage places
not at
where
all.
You weren't? Okay.
Not at all, except from the keyboard. Then after that, then all of a sudden it just kind of broke through, and everybody was
everybody was doing it.
Yeah, and like John,
it only takes one.
Sure, and John was of the idea too. He said, he goes, me and the guitar player, he said, you should be able to set yourself on fire, take your clothes off, and people not notice. He goes, that should be me doing my job. He said, where I should be captivated enough to keep their attention. That was kind of how he did his thing. So he really encouraged us all to do that. And then when he found out all that stuff was good, he's like, what the heck?
Wow.
So they had built like a thing around him, and that was pretty interesting. And then, but the coolest project that I just did that brought Jason on was that William Shatner.
Yes, Kaylee was telling me about this. She goes, William Shatner is releasing an album. I said, William Shatner sings? And she laughed, and she goes, well, no, he kind of talks. Tell me about this record.
It was pretty awesome. Like the label, who my band is with, Heartland Records, indie label, and he had Jeff Cook on his label too as a solo artist.
Okay.
And then so he just called William Shatner out of the blue, cold called him, and talked to his assistant and said, hey, would Jeff be interested in doing a country album with Jeff Cook? I mean, would William be interested? And so it got back to me. He said, yeah. So then he goes to Jeff and said, hey, Jeff, would you be interested in doing an album with William Shatner? And Jeff is the biggest Star Trek fan ever. I mean, he's got an entire room of his castle that's devoted to Star Trek. So he's like, heck yes. So it was pretty interesting. I mean, that Shatner is probably the coolest dude I've ever met in my life.
Really?
I mean, at the time when we cut that, he was 86, and he was as much in the moment and in the now as anybody could be. I mean, there were any signs of age on his mind at all. I mean,
wow.
and he kind of approaches life with this kind of childlike innocence. Like he wants to know stuff. Like, when I was doing all the editing and stuff, he's right over my shoulder now. Pro Tools, he's wanting to know about all that stuff. What kind of mind comes up with this? And
that sounds like
I'll tell you,
an old person would say.
Yeah, and he is not acting. I mean, he was like that cadence that he has when he speaks and stuff. That's him. It's so crazy. I mean, you're looking for the cameras the whole time he's talking. You're like, this guy are they recording something here? Because it's just crazy. But what a cool dude. What a cool experience. And
it is interesting that you say that he's got all his faculties, because the last couple of roles on television he's been a guy who's losing his mind.
Right. Yeah.
So I didn't know if that was really just him or.
Yeah. No. He is as sharp as a tack, man. And But I mean, he really does. If he doesn't know about something, he wants to know everything about it. Like, say, that microphone in your hand.
Yeah.
What is? He'd want to just get into that. It's crazy. So maybe he is losing his faculties. I don't know, man.
That's funny. Tell me a little bit about, you guys have played with multiple artists and that kind of thing. Picking up these tracks, just knowing how to play everything without music in front of you, and for you even to do, like you said, Kaylee's show with, I'm good to go. Well, how do you know you're good to go? Like, I mean,
we make shorthand. We have charts. Like for Kaylee's thing, I wrote out charts, and had the chords and everything. The Nashville number system. It's kind of a roadmap. But you listen to the songs, you get the songs in your head, and then you get the charts together, and it's just something I've always done. I always learn music by ear. I mean, I remember learning fiddle tunes and sitting down with a recorder and slowing it down half speed, and just trying to pick out every little note and everything. So I mean, I've always done it by ear, and I've always mostly done it by memory. I mean, I got in trouble when I was like 9 years old taking fiddle lessons, because I was like looking around the room playing the song and not actually reading the music. Right. And my teacher was like, okay, you got to read the music.
But were you playing it right?
Yeah. It's like, I already remember what it was, so
wow.
I don't need to.
It's the musical mind. Yeah. I mean, you have to really be musically inclined, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, I don't think you even know this story, which is pretty interesting. Just the first time that I started playing, my dad had gotten me a fiddle when I was 4 years old, and we still have the fiddle. It's a little 16th size fiddle. It looks like a little toy, and it was even too big for me at the time. They didn't want to sell it to him, but he's like, I'm going to buy this, and he'll grow into it,
Yeah.
So we would go to bluegrass festivals all the time, and I don't remember this at all. I was 4 years old, but as the story goes, I guess it was raining outside, and everybody was kind of in their campers and stuff, and my dad was sitting in our camper. He had his guitar, and he was playing Will the Circle Be Unbroken. And out of the back room, I got my fiddle, and I just started playing melody along with it. And it's like all of a sudden, he starts looking back, and it's like, we're starting you in fiddle lessons.
Wow.
So it's pretty interesting. Now we're playing Circle Being Broken for
full circle.
Yeah, full circle. Yeah, full
circle,
circle, not
full
unbroken.
circle from
right
4
there.
years old. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even when you're on a big tour with Tracy Lawrence, 3 big artists.
Yeah.
To learn all their stuff and play it flawlessly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because everybody in the audience knows the songs.
Oh
and
yeah.
They're gonna know if you mess up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I mean, for when I started playing with Joe and stuff, I mean, I was such a big fan anyway. I just it didn't take much learning, because I loved the guitar parts and loved the songs anyway. So it was a joy to play that stuff, and be able to do it. So.
Are either of you guys songwriting?
Both of us do.
Both of you. Okay.
Yeah, me and Kaylee write together, and we're writing most of the stuff on the Bluegrass project we got coming up, and Kimo's a great writer with all the Cache Creek stuff they got coming.
Yep.
Wait, he was talkative before. What happened?
Except that bridge.
Except the bridge that doesn't rhyme.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's you were talking about the ability to just go ahead. I mean, it's like, everybody has their gifting, and we were just blessed enough early in life to find ours.
Very early, yeah.
And like, where yours is filmmaking, and you have an aptitude for it, or somebody might be cooking, like, because two people can follow the same recipe and
it'd be totally different.
Totally different. I think with just the way that the gifting goes sometimes, and I believe everybody has it. It's just a matter of tapping into it and finding yours.
I want to talk a little bit about Fan Encounters. Now, I know that you guys are not the big headliners that we've had on the show, but you work with them. So have you witnessed some interesting encounters that artists have had with their fans? And maybe you've even been approached after a show with a crazy situation or somebody who's been touched by what you have done on stage, what comes to mind when you think of the fans?
I will say Alabama has some of the most devoted fans. I mean, their fan base, I mean, it's like they've been there since 1980 and 79, you know, or even before that from the Bowery. And those people back there, they make sure to let these latecomers, like who came along in the 80s, you know, they let them know, hey, we were here before you. But I mean, the reverence that they have, like, you know, and then it's funny because we just got done with Fan Appreciation Days where they come from everywhere to Fort Payne there, you know, and the guys each have a day where they do their own things and they host their own shows, and then the band has the concert,
big show,
basically. But I mean, I remember there's a fan who has an entire back tattoo of Randy Owen.
Oh my gosh, that is devotion.
Yeah, I mean, and she's not alone. I mean, there
oh
are
wait,
other
it's a
ones.
woman.
Oh wait,
I thought it was a guy.
Who knows? Yeah,
I was picturing a hairy back and,
yeah,
and all that.
yeah, the beard's already there.
Right,
That's
exactly.
No, and when we play like what Randy's Day is like Fandemonium at the farm, and he does it. I mean, it's right there at his farm in his barn, and it is. I mean, it is like bodies you know, sweating and just right next to each other. These fans, their devotion, it's almost a reverence to the band, and to see that kind of fanship. I mean, I think of all the artists that Jason and I both worked for, I don't think we've ever seen any as devoted as the Alabama fans. I mean, and the stuff that they know about their guys, you know, it's pretty, you know, at the same time as being disturbing, it's pretty amazing too. You know, that there would be that kind of idolization.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's no other word for it, but they, and then at Randy's thing, at his Fandemonium at the farm, which is at the farm, where they all get there, and he just kind of has an open table. It's like, what do you folks want to hear? And
wow.
And some of the stuff that they will pull out, like, you know, from an album that they did in 1980, you know, the eighth song,
deep cut.
yeah, you know, and you know, he expects us to know it and stuff, but it's kind of
there we go, back to you knowing every song.
But yeah, that's the most intense fanship that I've experienced is with them.
Any crazy fans that you've run into?
You know, I don't have any crazy fan stories. Do you have any crazy fan stories?
Oh, he does.
but
he gave the mic back too soon.
Now the interesting thing is, you know, because I'm trying to get my band going, and also with the Rollers, so we've been able to create a little niche fan swap. You know, where those Alabama fans are devoted to Cache Creek. Yeah. And as a Rollers, and then, you know, we shared the Rollers stuff, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, we like the Rollers too. You know, I mean, this is, you use what you can, right? I mean,
yeah. If you can tap into an Alabama audience.
Sure. And in fact, I mean, we're starting to see that same kind of devotion. Like there's a group of people that call themselves the Cache Creek Girls, and we did, myself and the bass player, 2 acoustic guitars in a sports bar no bigger than this room here.
Oh my gosh.
We put that up online, and they drove from like eastern North Carolina, from Ohio, to come to this just to see us play cover songs for 3.5, 4 hours. It was like, this is us. It's like, you know, this isn't Randy and Teddy here. This is and they have that same devotion for us out of it. And, you know, Kaylee one time said how much she likes sloths.
Yeah, she made that mistake.
On social media.
Yeah, she went onto Facebook and found a picture of a sloth, and of course tagged me in it. You know, hey Jason, when can we get a sloth or whatever? And man, it is the rage. I mean, she gets. I mean, how long ago was that? 6 months ago? At least 6 months ago, and she still gets daily messages about sloths and pictures of sloths, and here's where you can hold a sloth, and here's where you buy a sloth, and here's where you can, here's sloth pants, and here's sloth pajamas.
Wow.
So he's so afraid he's going to have a sloth on the bus one of these days that he's going to have to take
it won't move far.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. They have some devotion, you know, and I mean, They buy our merch. They buy our stuff. And I mean, we're lucky to have them, especially at our stage, where we need that ravenous kind of fan to spread the word and say, hey, you got to check out Cache Creek. Hey, you got to check out the Rollers, and boy, they will tote the water. I mean, they will let the people know.
Now, Rollers is obvious, but Cache Creek, where did the name come from? How do you pick that?
Well, it's the two other main guys in the band. I mean, I've known since 5th grade in high school, and we had a band back then that was all the rage. We were called Silver Creek, and we achieved pretty much all we could out on the West Coast, is where we were from originally, and then we came back to Nashville to showcase for Arista Records at the time. Mm-hmm. That was early '90s when country was just king,
right? And
I ended up staying in Nashville after the showcase. I stayed, and the rest of the guys went home. And then a guy, Scott Hendricks, who's the VP of A&R at Warner Brothers Records, he heard one of my demos much later on, and he's like, who is this band? And I was, I need to put a band together, So I called those guys again, and so he said, well, we don't want to call ourselves Silver Creek again, So we just kind of went with, I don't know, Cache Creek with the percussive consonants together like that. He said we should have put a K instead, like Cache Creek, and
Well, you're there to make the cash.
But then we were wanting to do the Cache Creek Club, and that wouldn't have worked out if it was all K's.
Yeah, no, it would not have been a good idea.
So we're like, Roller, you are no longer in charge of anything to do with marketing.
That's why he's not. That's why he's a musician.
That's right. Yeah,
he
like that.
The right career.
That gifting, like we were talking about. Yeah, he's not gifted there.
That's not one of my strong suits, right there.
Oh, that's funny. Weird gifts. Have you seen any weird gifts pass through fans' hands?
I don't know about weird gifts. A lot of baked goods.
This is always a constant conversation we ask everybody who gets these things. Are you eating the baked goods? Are you nervous when you do? What's the story?
Well, I got to be honest here. We had this one lady who made a lasagna for us. And,
was it still hot?
It was delicious. And then we ate on it for a week. Well, see, the bass player and I, gosh darn it, I got to stop this. That's our ride for 2 a.m., by the way. But we live together.
Who lives together?
Just
Wait
leave
a minute.
that hanging out there like that. That sounds hilarious.
He's
my house
the lady
Italian.
Who made the lasagna, or
no.
I'm not sure where we're.
The bass player in Cache Creek. Yeah,
okay.
He's my house Italian. That's what I call him. But he moved out to Nashville 2 years. Has it been 2 years? Year and a half or so. So I got room. I got a big house. So he moved in there. I mean, like I said, we've known each other since the 5th grade. So it's all cool. And my kids call him Uncle Monty or Mom T. They call him sometimes.
Okay.
But I guess these ladies, they know, hey, two guys and kids living together, they need some food, So yeah, he made lasagna and tiramisu, and then they bring these. This was at that sports club I was talking about.
Oh,
then these bags and bags of candy kisses and Dr. Pepper and all this stuff, and we just setting us up, I guess so. But yeah, I will say I ate it, and it was good. Ate it for a week, and that tiramisu was awesome too, man.
We've had a band tell us that they would go on Instagram, be like, yeah, I'm really hungry for some Chick-fil-A right now, and then fans would show up at the backstage gate with Chick-fil-A, and then they're like, yeah, we took it. And we took pictures of them, and I'm like, but you ate it? And they're like, oh yeah, every bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because maybe for that first bite there might be a little trepidation, but you go ahead and do it.
We got to kind of look at who's giving it to you too.
Right. Yeah.
Does it look like they come from a clean home?
Yeah.
It's a judgment call.
Right, it is. And so far, so
okay.
good.
All right. Sounds good.
All good so far. How about you, Jason?
Do you eat baked goods, Jason?
I do. Okay. Yeah, I'll eat the brownies, the cookies, whatever they bring. Yeah.
7-Up cake?
7-Up cake.
Okay. That's very specific.
Chocolate-covered cherries, yes.
Let's move into life on the road. You're away from your families a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Kids here. Yeah. How do you deal with being separated for so long? How do you stay connected. Obviously, technology can help with that a lot, but it's still hard not being physically there. So how do you guys deal with that?
It is. I mean, you've got the kids thing. I've got dogs.
Well, you got the wife thing too.
Yeah. Exactly. We've got dogs.
I didn't figure it out.
We've got dogs. You've got kids. But I mean, you've got a lot of money. I mean, you can't hide your money. You bought a couple cameras for that podcast. You're just.
We're gonna get into that. Let's talk about that.
No, it's. I mean, it's obviously it's hard to leave home, and you hate to be away from. I hate to be away from the wife and the kid or the dogs. But I mean, technology is easy, and the thing is, we're not gone super a whole lot. We'll leave on Thursday and get back on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
So, we're not gone for months at a time. When I was back with Dave Mason, this was right when Kaylee and I got married. I was getting ready to be gone for 2 months at a time, and then home for a month, and then gone for 2 months, and that was pretty hard right there. But it's a thing that's always been a part of me and Kaylee's life, because I mean, ever since she met me, I was touring. So, it's always something that we've dealt with, and she does great at it, and she has a lot of things. She has her baking business, so now, she
makes amazing cakes.
Yeah, she does.
Great.
Cakes and cookies and macaroons, and so, I mean, that keeps her busy when I'm gone, and, and when we're gone for a weekend, it's not a huge deal, and then we get to spend time with each other. And then with her regular, job as a counselor, a school counselor, I mean, she gets the whole summer off, or a couple months in the summer. So there's I'm going to do a show, 4th of July show with Kelly Pickler, nice. And Kaylee's coming with me because she can.
That's got to be a thrill for her too, that she gets those experiences that.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not on the level that she probably would have wanted many years ago, but
right,
still a thrill to stand backstage. Like, I think I saw a post when she came to an Alabama show, right?
Yeah, she was
allowed to stand in the wings. And
yeah.
Like, what a thrill!
A couple of weeks ago, we played Myrtle Beach, and it was pretty crazy because back there, right next to the Bowery where they started, and 50 years later or whatever.
Yeah, wow.
It was pretty cool to see, and when I was out touring with Kelly, I mean, Kaylee and Kelly became really good friends. So it was, I mean, it was kind of beyond her imagination of, being able to call somebody like that a dear friend, So
does Kaylee have Kelly's number in her phone?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there you go. That is a friendship.
So they are friends.
They are
That's
actual
real.
friends.
I know, I was testing
They talk to each other all the time, and so, yeah, it's really cool. Kelly has been great to both of us. She's been awesome to work with and for, and just, we consider her and Kyle friends,
But you never were on the reality show that she had. I never saw you.
No, I was never. Well, I was a couple of places they showed a couple of band shows we got on, but
okay,
yeah,
I didn't look hard enough then.
But what do you do?
Well, my wife and I were together for 25 years, and I mean 23 great years. And I know that the key is that when you're home, you got to be home.
Sure.
You can't be thinking about, that gig or this stuff or you just, like my wife used to say, just make me feel like you want to be here, and
you'd rather be home than on the road. You go on the road because you have to.
Right. Exactly. I am so sorry.
Your ride is not going to be here for 10 more hours.
I know. I don't understand. He's really excited. I guess. Let me turn this.
Get your butt up.
Turn this darn thing off.
No, you're fine, Kimo. Don't
worry. That was the biggest thing. And
all right, so how old are your kids?
I've got 28, 18, and 14, my little girl. So yeah, and they've grown up in it. That's what they've known their entire life. And my son is actually, both of my kids are in the business. My oldest boy, 20, he's in EDM. Sick-ish is his name, and he just got voted the most promising in Nashville to come out of that scene.
Wow.
That whole, and so I'm hoping he becomes next Avicii or whatever. But I mean, of course not. Actually, with Avicii, but I mean, I don't want to say that. But and then my middle boy, we just did an album on him, and he released his first single a little bit ago, and he's got his little
tell us single name. Let's look this up.
His name is Jackson Forrest.
Okay.
And it was so funny. He wanted to be a soldier his entire life, and then I guess when he turned 16, he's like, hey, Dad, teach me how to play guitar.
Huh.
This was like out of the blue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I showed him a few things, and it was like I could see, okay, because it was like when it's like, I mean, like he got his wings, and it was just his learning curve was just like that, and he went to the moon, and he just started writing. I mean, and Xbox stopped. It just stopped. I mean, just overnight. And he'd get in there after school, and he'd be playing that guitar and writing songs and stuff. And he's like, "Okay, Dad, I think I got enough for an album." So went ahead and cut it, and he wrote every song on it, and it's crazy. All good. And now he's starting at Middle Tennessee State in the fall in music production. I mean,
a switch.
It, like
just
that.
2 years.
It was like that. It's like he found this is it. This is my thing. It was so fun because he grew up in it his whole life. I mean he grew up just at the gigs and stuff and at the shows, and he just being around all the stuff, and I think it just gets in there somehow. Even though you might not have known it, and then all of a sudden, bam! I mean, when it took off, it took off.
Kimo, do you feel at home right now? Because we were just chatting generally, and I guess you have a podcast we should talk about.
Yeah. It's called the Cass Creek Club. It's based out of YouTube. Right now, we film it and everything.
Oh, video! And, that's a whole new thing.
We just did our first one.
Okay.
And we've got some pretty good guests lined up. It's Heidi Newfield from and then. Wade Hayes said he would do it, and so it's going to be fun. I've got the rollers on.
Oh, did you tape already?
No,
not yet. Okay,
they're going to be doing, but just basically our friends and stuff that we've known, and kind of giving them a platform, and it's fun though. It's cool because I mean, and another funny story about that, we turned the living room of our house into the set. Basically, and my 14-year-old daughter comes in and says, "Well, Dad, I guess it's official. You aren't going to get married again, are you?" And I said, "No, honey. I put in my time."
The ship has sailed.
Well, go ahead and tell them about the Cash Creek Club Live.
Oh yeah, and then once a month, the first Wednesday of every month, starting in August. We're actually going to do it live at a place called the Music City Bar and Grill, just over there next to Opryland and stuff. Have you?
I've been there. Yep.
Yeah. And I think the first show we're going to have Larry Stewart, and then that's what we're trying to get.
Is that Gatlin Brothers, right?
No, that's from Restless Heart.
Oh, okay.
He was lead singer for Restless Heart. And then the Rollers are going to be there. And it's basically where Cash Creek is the host, and we have our friends come up and do 2 or 3, 4 songs.
That's nice.
And we'll have like 3 up-and-comers and then an established act close out the night. And that's starting in August 7th.
Very cool.
So and it'll be the first Wednesday of every month after that.
Nice. Very fun.
Yeah, it's cool.
We always close out our interviews with a couple questions just about you guys. So I know you're on the road and stuff, but do you have shows that you're watching or streaming right now that you are like, I cannot miss this show?
Stranger Things for me.
Mm-hmm. I know it's way too long in between seasons.
Yeah, it sure is. But I just love that show, and of course it's set in Indiana. So I mean, in the '80s in Indiana, it just takes me right back to my childhood.
Yeah, for sure.
But I got really into that show, and then of course Kaylee and I watch. Her being from Chicago, we watch all the Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, all that,
Now with Stranger Things, they're supposed to bring out remember back in the 80s, the new Coke?
Yes.
I have not seen it. Have you?
I have not seen it either.
You've been everywhere, so I figured you might have run into it.
I have not seen it yet. I've seen it advertised on Facebook and stuff, but I want to get my hands on one of them.
Me too.
Yeah.
I've not had it here at all, so don't look here, I guess.
Okay.
All right. Kimo, what are you watching?
Ancient Aliens.
What is that? Is that like a Discovery show?
It's a history channel.
A history channel.
Yeah, I've got it. It tapes it every time it's on.
Okay.
And
now you're going to start getting a lot of weirder gifts.
And weirder fans.
I just love that show. And pretty much all I watch is motorsports and Ancient Aliens. I mean, I'll tape all the motocross. I'll tape all the NASCAR stuff. And then when I get my time at home, I'll fire them up and do the thing. But again, like both of us have studios in our home, so it's kind of when we're there. That's what you're gonna do. Is you're gonna, and then I'm
got to
sure,
unwind at some point.
Yeah.
And you got to choose something.
Right,
so
right, yeah. So it's Ancient Aliens for me, buddy.
Okay, cool.
Of course, we got we're huge baseball fans, so we have the Nashville Sounds,
Which are not affiliated with our hometown team.
Not anymore.
That stinks.
Yeah, it does stink. We were bummed about that.
Of course, Kaylee would never want to see the Brewers do well anyway. So
she was actually
don't
coming
go there.
around, But I mean,
Players, right?
oh yeah, absolutely, and got our picture with Don Money. Don Money was there for a little bit. So yeah, it was pretty cool. But we love to go out to the games. We're season ticket holders, and they treat us well over there, and it's just a lot of fun.
Tell us where we can find you online. We mentioned it throughout the episode, but let's sum it up here. Jason, where can we locate you online?
That's a good question.
Well, the Rollers Facebook page.
Yeah, I have a Facebook page of my own.
Do you do Instagram or Twitter or anything?
I do have an Instagram. It is at jroller79.
Okay.
And then I'm always on it, posting up pictures.
Yeah, I don't think he is.
No, there's some good content on there. There's some stuff about our folks at the Head Rush, our friends at the Head Rush, and the Head Rush is a pedal board that we use out on the road.
Oh, okay.
And they're good folks. They're coming out with a video featuring Fred and Barney here. They caught up on tour with us and just filmed a little 10-minute documentary kind of thing showing us how we use the pedal board and everything.
Awesome.
So that's coming out. But you can find me on Facebook. You can find the Rollers Duo on Facebook, and you can find my studio, Magic Shack Productions, on Facebook as well.
Excellent.
So that's
if
where you
need
can find
some
me.
Music production in Nashville.
Yes.
They can call you up.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's interesting that we both do all this kind of stuff, and I'm doing tracks for people in Ireland. I've done people in Australia, Ireland, England. Just they love country music over there, so they'll send songs that they're working on, and they want a guitar part or they want a fiddle part or something, and I'll play it and send it back to them.
Thank God for the internet.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, and I know.
Kimo, where can we find you?
You know what he's talking about there. I mean, he plays fiddle and mando on all of my stuff, on all the Cache Creek stuff, all of my productions too. And he only lives 30 minutes away from me, and we still use the internet that way, so we have to see each other. I know. So, I've got, CacheCreekBand.com, and that's CASH like Johnny Cash, Creek, band.com.
Okay.
And then Cache Creek has a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube channel.
It's exhausting to run all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because Elizabeth doesn't help me do any of it.
Right.
So,
Really? Yeah.
No, she shows up to tape shows, and that's it. Research, what's that?
Yeah. Well,
I'm not saying anything she doesn't know when she listens to this either.
We started, it used to be all in-house, and we got to that point, it's like, I can't keep up.
Yeah.
So you have to start getting other people. Like we got this web guy who does this really well. So, and then I don't have any personal accounts except Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it that way.
Keep it simple. Yeah. Well, keep it simple for your personal side, because
That's
your business
right.
side is a little out of control.
That's right, exactly.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you both very much for
Man,
joining
we've
us.
just enjoyed this tremendously. You're
good.
just a pleasure and a great interview.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us.
No problem. Thanks for coming on. My thanks to Jason and Kimo for being on the show today. Had a lot of fun hanging out with those guys, kind of getting to know them a little bit more and hearing about their life on the road, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. You can always find us on social media. Fancounters is on Twitter at Fancounters Live. You can also join our Facebook group. And if you want to email us any comments or questions, suggestions, anything like that, you can send us to hello@fancounters.com. The one thing that's very important to us is that if you like this episode and you like what we're doing, tell a friend, share us on social media, retweet our tweets for us, and we would love to have your support in that way. We've got another great guest next week, and we hope you stop back and check us out. Have a great week, everybody.